This is a tutorial to help you use the script Doctopus so that you can sort of streamline your workflow when you're using Google Docs. Let's say that you have an assignment for your students, like the one I'm showing here, science fair proposals, and I want every one of my students to fill this out. Now you could have the students go to File and make a copy and then have them rename it and share it with you, but it is a lot of extra steps to go through, and then you have to go into your drive and organize it into the files. By using Doctopus, you save a lot of time, and then you also have a lot of extra features that you can use, such as grading and using a rubric that we'll go over in the next tutorial. Let's get Doctopus set up, though, in order for all of my students to be able to use this exact document. And I can send it out to them all at once, whether I have 30 students or 130 students. So what you want to do is you want to go into your Google Drive. And within here, I'm going to send this out to, let's say it's my first period class. I'm going to go into my first period class folder where I have other assignments that I've already assigned. I'm going to create a new folder. And then I'm going to title this new folder Science Fair, because I'm going to have a lot of documents in here for the science fair. And so I will eventually put everything that I need to create this script and to enable it to run in this folder, including all of the kids' assignments will end up in this folder automatically. So if I go back to my drive, I want to make sure that within this folder, I'm going to go to recent because that will show me what I just recently made. Actually, I'm going to open it up this way so I can see the folder over here on the side. I'm going to make sure that my science fair proposal is in that folder. So I'm going to click on it and drag it into science fair and move it there. And I'm also going to go to my Doctopus roster. So I have a roster for the Doctopus form that I had created. Let me just review that one more time. Here was the form. And if I go to live form, I had sent this out at the beginning of the year. I only have to do this once. I'm going to show you how it works. I'll fill it out myself. First name, last name. And have your students fill this out one time during the school year, and then they're done with it. So if I close this up and I go back into my drive, I have a roster where all of these responses have come to. So if I open that up, and you can see my last response is here at the bottom, number 12. Now I'm using this as a sample. So say that I've sent this out and these are the responses I've gotten back. Now I don't want to use this exact one because I'm going to use this over and over throughout the year. Every time I run the Doctopus script, I have to recreate all of this. So instead, I'm just going to make a copy of this. So I'll slide down and make a copy, and I'm going to call it roster for period 1, and I'm going to title this Science Fair Proposals, so that I know exactly what this roster will be used for when it's organized in my doc. So now I have it set, roster for period 1, science fair proposals. Now if I go back to my drive, I can see the Doctopus is there, roster for period 1, science fair proposals. I'm going to drag that and put it into the science fair folder. Now if I go into the science fair folder, you can see I've got the assignment, the proposal, and I've got the roster for this assignment. Eventually, this will all be filled with students from period 1 with their science fair, completed science fair proposals. So let's go ahead and install the script now. I'm going to open up the roster, and I'm going to go to Insert, Script, all the way at the bottom. And the second script that shows up is Doctopus. So I want to click Install. And I can go ahead and click Authorize this app. This app would like to email as you view, manage spreadsheets in Google Drive. Let's see, and I'm going to accept that it's going to do all this for me. All right, now that I've gone through the authorization, I can exit this, and you can see up here that it is now um, loaded onto this document. So all I have to do is click on it and launch installation. So from here, I need to go through the authorization one more step. I will click here, and it will bring me to this area, and you can read through this information and push authorize. Once it's authorized, it says OK. I can go back to my roster, and this part is for the next level, the Chrome extension called Gubrick, which is really amazing to use. That'll be in the next tutorial though. So got it, I'm done with these steps. All right, now it's time to set it up. All right, so we're going to select the sharing type. And you can select on these and see it gives you a description right next to here and tells you what kind of sharing type this would be. So if you're doing project groups, that creates one shared copy for each project group as you designate in your roster. So along the sides of your roster in these other columns, you could be labeling A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, and then sorting the students by those labels. But for this project, I'm going to use individual and all the same. So this will create the same separate individual doc for each student because I want each of them to fill out their own. In order to give permission for access level, I do not want the students to go and see any of the other students' documents, so I'm going to say no access. And I'm going to allow editing when they do receive the document. All right, I can share this with other teachers if I like as well. So I need to do the roster settings now. So it's a little bit confusing in knowing what some of these parts are, but I'm going to leave form responses at this point. Column containing student email addresses. Right now, my columns are labeled first name, last name, and email addresses. So this is the column that has the email addresses. And for excuse designation, I'm going to leave it as time-stamped. If you have individual folders you want to assign the assignment to, that's another step we could take, but I want all of mine to come back to this one folder. So I will select Save Settings, and it will begin to work its magic now. Okay, now I need to choose which documents to copy and distribute. So the first thing I need to do is select the folder that has my document template. So I'm going to go through and find that folder, and it was Science Fair. So it'll probably be way down under Science Fair. There it is. And then next I want to select the item that I would like to copy and share. So within that folder, and this is why it was so great to put everything in the folder first, there's my spreadsheet. I don't want to share that, but there's the document, the Science Fair proposal. And then I'll push Save Settings. Now here's some really great steps because on this part, this really sets it up for the students to be able to be really organized with how their file and how their document will now look. So I need to select a folder where all of the documents will then be sent to. And again, I want to go back to my Science Fair folder because remember I want all of the documents to come to this folder so I can find them easily. Or I could, write it in myself. Now down here in this box, it's really great because this is how the document will be named for each student. So I would like it to be named with last name, and instead of risking that I would type it wrong, I'm just going to highlight and copy it and paste it in, last name, and then I'm going to go ahead and type in Science Fair proposals. And I'm going to have it notify them when they're sharing, and it's going to send an email address. Some people don't like to send the email addresses to the kids because they're not going in their email and checking it, but you can if you like. So if you want to, go ahead and fill out, and I'm going to call this Science Fair proposal assignment. That will be in the email subject, and I can leave instructions. All right, and save my settings. All right, now this is the last step before I go ahead and run the script. So you can go through and double check and make sure that all of the things that you have set up are correct. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and run the copy and share it. Now, if I want to stop at this point and run it later, I can, and I can just come right back, click on the Doctopus installation on this form, and go ahead and run it at that time. I'm going to go ahead and run it right now. You'll see in the background there are some new tabs being added and things are being changed around a little bit. And it's working. I can see the spacing is changing. And we'll go into these changes that are being made in the next tutorial. But basically, what you've done is set up a great way to send out your documents for all of your students to have. I hope this helped.